Number 9, Big Clayton Mills, the Morley Mauler. Number 6, Robert Woodward. Number T, Greg Tayama from Adelaide. Number A, Stephen Gaul from the St George's Motorcycle Club in Sydney, New South Wales. Number 51 there, Peter Cooper. Number 182, Johnny McCarthy from Mandurah. Number 0, Neville Cutts. Number 4, Brad Thompson from Collie. Number 57 there is Clinton Jakovich. 479 in the back row there. So they're the riders now in the hands of the starter, Richard Dixon, and we'll be getting ourselves the start in this event number 14, the first leg of the King of the Cross, over 8 laps. Often racing now, and the first one to jump out was number 8, Trevor Williams from Victoria. Woo! He's going for it. He got himself a slingshot. Oh, look at this into the first turn. There is a brilliant, right over the top goes 3 or 4 riders. That was absolutely a devastating start, and we've lost 2 or 3 of the fancy riders already. As we were saying earlier, the burn has been put up, but please, ladies and gentlemen, stand back around the starting line. We've asked you all day, would you please keep well back from the track, because these men are out there, they're chasing $9,500 in prize money, plus $750 odd worth of trophies, and anything can happen because these men are out there and they're playing for keeps. Out in front at the moment now, it looks like it's Anthony Gunter. No, it's not. It looks like it could be probably even Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams, the national champion from Victoria. He's the man who's second place in the Mr. Motocross for 1981, and he has come a long, long way to see if he can get up there. Please keep the tongue out. It's pretty hard. As we see them now coming in, Neville Cutts is amongst them as well. And now we have a great battle royal here. Trevor Williams, he's a very talented motorcyclist. Look at Stephen Gaul. He's on the outside of Tayama as he gets up there. Stephen Gaul on machine number A. Trevor Williams out in front. Neville Cutts. Then we find Stephen Gaul, Tayama, Peter Benson, Robert Woodward, Anthony Gunter. On E, Graham Smythe, the Golden Boy. Into Dixon's burn they go, and there's plenty of action still produced there on the race circuit at the moment. As you see the riders now moving up the top section, as Trevor Williams showing his Australian Championship winning form at the moment as he moves over the back there in top action motorcycle racing here at the brilliant Southern Cross track here today, the 1981 King of the Cross Series. Down the main straight they come. 1, 2, 3. You can see Stephen Gaul trying to get over second place, but they go past the line. 1 lap down and 7 to go. Trevor Williams leading from Stephen Gaul. Then back to Neville Cutts on 0. Number 30 there is Peter Benson. Anthony Gunter is up at about 5th place now. Then back to Tayama, but Stephen Gaul's got himself a slingshot that time as he flies into the lead there with a brilliant piece of riding. Stephen Gaul out in front, in second place and going along very well indeed and very hard is Trevor Williams. But tell you what, noted about this guy at the moment, David.
You're exactly right, Con. I don't know if the crowd noticed like you and I noticed, but he did the slowest lap ever of this circuit. Just over about the last 6 or 7 events, he walked the complete circuit just a little while ago, and it seems to be paying off now for Stephen Gaul.
There is Stephen Gaul from the St George Motorcycle Club, Sydney, New South Wales, leads this event on machine number A. Waiting for the team Yamaha Australia here as water starts to drip on top of our timing team. I don't know what the guys are doing up there. We're getting bombarded with sand at one moment, now they're pouring water on us. But here they are now. There is Stephen Gaul, Super Stephen as he's known, leads Mr. Motocross for 1981 there. Number 28 now, who had a bad trot into the dirt there, is Rick Speak, has now returned to the pits. In second place is Trevor Williams. Back there in third place, Neville Cutts, Anthony Gunter on machine number E, Peter Benson, Jeffrey Leisky on 5, back to Tayama, then Robert Woodward, Golden Boy, Graham Smythe, number 51 going through there as well as Peter Cooper, number 37 there and well, Richard Tuner, then number 10, Tony Gogan, number 11, Big Brian Watson, and the field keeps coming, Max Stepanev on number 82. Well, they see as rain starts to pour across the circuit, which should make going very... Oh, look at Stephen Gaul! Both legs are raised off the machine! Stephen Gaul has dropped it very heavily! Unbelievable as he dropped the machine as Trevor Williams is on, the pressure's on! Woo-hoo! Rock and roll here today! No doubt about that, these men are out there playing for keeps, and it's not Stephen Gaul's day. Trevor Williams out in front, Neville Cutts, look at Gunter! Gunter! Oh, he's a very desperate man. He's a strong man. He comes from Wollongong in New South Wales. Now there's two Victorian, West Australian and New South Welshmen there. Jeffrey Leisky up in third place. Then Max Stepanacek going past, but Tommy Morrison, what an unbelievable turn-up.
Certainly was shared death right, and Harry Bankett almost dropped the Model T, but we're having a look to see if we can see if Stephen Gaul is back in it again, and we'll try and give you some indication of exactly where he is, but no, he's coming back. I think he'll just sort of get his feeling, and he's back into the action again. Well, what a tremendous recovery, because believe me, he was certainly moving. It was all stops out, and away he went, and the machine almost out of control. But Stephen Gaul, of course, is the epitome of fitness, and believe me, it takes a fit man to survive incidents like that. But the change has certainly occurred here while the action has been on further up the track, and the man out front, of course, is Trevor Williams from Bairnsdale in Victoria, and Gunter is now up into second position, followed by Nev Cutts. Then we've got Jeffrey Leisky, Peter Benson on the George Cowie Mako, further back to Robbie Woodward, number 6, then Greg Toyama and Graham Smythe, number 2, and further back to Big Peter Cooper on machine number 51. Meanwhile, we'll watch the action as it goes on the top part of the circuit, and Trevor Williams is still in command of the situation, and of course he's riding that superb-looking 490 Works Kawasaki, as is also Tony Gunter. And of course the desperation is the order of the day, and believe me, the action will be on as Gunter's coming up for that opportunity to get through. But Trevor Williams just ahead of Anthony Gunter. Nev Cutts, our WA representative, hanging on very, very tenaciously there, and Gunter looking for the opportunity to get through, and of course Trevor Williams closing in the gate on him. Over on the far side, Graham Smythe doing a rather spectacular as he jumps off Lizard's Leap. But Jeffrey Leisky is always just riding one leg on the machine with the other leg trailing out. All sorts of problems, but superb recovery there, superb control of the machine, and he's back in the thick of things, and I think a bit of a challenge coming on between Robbie Woodward and Peter Benson. But we'll just try and determine the very riders, of course, out front are similar. Stephen Gaul starting to come up. But I think if you can pick those riders out from here, you're a better man than I am, Gunga Din. But I think it's Gunter out front. It looks like, no, it's not. It's still Trevor Williams. Very similar styles, and of course similar powered machines. The Works Kawasaki Green Meanies, 490cc, and superb, of course, in all their performances. And these are both very, very capable riders indeed, and believe me, the action is going to be on. But great performance by the Team Honda riders there in Nev Cutts, and of course in Jeffrey Leisky, and further back then in 5th position is Peter Benson ahead of Robbie Woodward, and then we have Graham Smythe and Greg Toyama, the little septic tank, or Yank as he is, residing in South Australia, is just behind Graham Smythe. So take it away, Con.
Thank you much indeed, Tommy Morrison. Now here, top action motocross racing. The Green Meanies, Trevor Williams leading on machine. Oh, look at Gunter, slingshot! Woo-hoo! I tell you what, there's nothing about that, man. What about that one, David?
Well, what can you say, Con? It just speaks for itself. I'm not going to say a darn thing, because if you said anything, you just detract from that performance. Brilliant, over the jump.
There we are. Anthony Gunter from Wollongong. He's out in front. He said earlier this week that he was going to win this event, and what a determined man he is. Trevor Williams, the national champion, in 2nd place. Then our own local star, Nev Cutts. Then back to Jeff Leisky, riding for the Clemnun All-Star Honda team. Then Team Mako rider, Peter Benson. Robert Woodward, riding for Bike World. So there's great action here. Hondas and Suzuki and Kawasaki's. Brian Watson, Big Max Stepanacek, then back to number 98, going along there very well indeed. That guy's going a string of very good, riding for Alron Suzuki, and as a member of the Coastal Motorcycle Club, doing a great job there. So there's plenty of action still. Stephen Gaul, look at him, he's working through the field, but I don't think he's going to have enough time. They're at the halfway mark, and this is the first leg of the King of the Cross. Stephen Gaul, a quarter of a lap behind the man in 2nd, who's out in front, so he's got no chance of pegging back a win, although Gunter's out in front. He's had to work very hard. Anthony Gunter, Trevor Williams, number H, then Neville Cutts, and look at Jeffrey Leisky. Jeffrey Leisky is starting to close the gap. Neville Cutts is looking a little bit tired from here. Look at Neville Cutts now, he's fighting hard. Jeff Leisky on the outside of him. Both machines are locked together. Cutsy burns him off as they go up the hill, but look at the young, tenacious Leisky. He fights on the outside. Oh, he's right in the air, and Leisky bounced back into 4th place once again. The top action motocross racing. Look at this, and Gunter out in front. Trevor Williams in 2nd place, and the battle between the two works Honda riders. Cutts and Leisky. Cutts just in front. Leisky back in 4th place. Over the Lizard's Leap they go. Gunter on the front wheel. Then back to number H, Trevor Williams, back to Neville Cutts, and then Jeffrey Leisky, that dynamic young man who rides so hard. Get down off there, come on. As he rides very hard indeed. As you can see the action, Tony Gogan, the going got too tough for him. And as we said, when the going get tough, by gee, they're certainly the tough well and truly get going here today, because there's just no doubt about this man out in front. A 100% professional motorcyclist. Comes from Wollongong in New South Wales, has been a little bit down over the last couple of years, but by gee, 1981 he's bounced back, and he's making everyone in Australia take notice of this man's outstanding ability on a motocross machine, riding the green meanie, and he's doing it so very, very well indeed. He's that far out in front, he's lonely, and he's doing it so easily. Anthony Gunter leads Trevor Williams from Victoria. Back to Neville Cutts from Manjimup, where the big timber has grown. He's tough like the timber they grow down there. Then back there once again to Jeffrey Leisky. Great job. He's only just 16 and a half years of age, and is the son of a former great speedway rider in Bob Leisky, and now riding for the Clemnun All-Star Honda team from out there in Kenwick. And Neville Cutts riding for Team Honda Western Australia, as the Team Kawasaki riders are out there battling along very hard indeed. Anthony Gunter. Well, at the moment, David, looks like Gunter's virtually just playing with the field.
Certainly does, Con, but the big thing, I think, for most of the spectators is there's green bikes out and the red bikes, and it certainly seems to be Kawasaki versus Honda at the moment, and that is very, very important, because both these teams have put a heck of a lot of effort into it this year.
And the starters and riders. Number E, Anthony Gunter. Number A is Super Stephen Gaul. Number 51 there is Peter Cooper. Number T, Greg Tayama from South Australia. Number H, Trevor Williams from Victoria. The 42, Shane Thompson in the background. Number 86 there as well is Glenn Biffin. Number 98, Morgan Smith. Number 82, Max Stepanasev. Number 37 lining up there is Richard Tuner. Number 8 is Russell Speak from Midland Yamaha. Number 5, Jeff Leisky, the Clemnun All-Star Honda team. Number 46 standing there is Keith Gill from Keith Gill Motorcycles in Subiaco. 198 there is Johnny Starr from Lanslin. Number 57 is Clinton Jakovich. Number 54, Jamie Ralston. Number 226 there, Philip Hammer. Number 67, Murray Nelson, son of fiery Fred Nelson. And by gee, he was fiery before the meeting started today. Gave his kid a clip across the ear roll. Number 52, Vince Giancelli. In the hands of the starter now. It'll be the charge of the Light Brigade when the starting tapes go down. Off and racing now. The first man to move away that time was Trevor Williams and Stephen Gaul in second place. Trevor Williams from Victoria. Tayama stalled the bike at the start, but they charge into the top turn for the first time. Tayama's bike not going very well, but out in front of the over to Stephen Gaul. Back there in second place and going along very well is young Williams. Anthony Gunter there on E, and then back there to Jeffrey Leisky. And we find Neville Cutts amongst them as well. But the very interesting story at the moment Very interesting to see, will Stephen Gaul pick the right lines in this event? The young man from the St George Motorcycle Club, a full-time professional motocross rider and one of the highest paid sportsmen in Australia today. There's no mistake about that. Rides for Team Yamaha, but as I said to you earlier, Van, it certainly is a very professional man. He leads the field at the moment. Trevor Williams from Victoria in second place. Back up in third place and going very hard indeed is Anthony Gunter, with already one big win under his belt at the moment. He could pretty well sit back and relax and take it for a ride as they go down towards Smythe Bend. He gets the bike sideways, gets it straightened up again, guns it down towards King's Corner, but look at Gunter now starting to pour the pressure on his teammate in Trevor Williams. Back to Jeffrey Leisky on 5, Nev Cutts on 0. Then we find Graham Smythe, the golden boy, on machine number 2. Lee Earnshaw to the kiosk. Lee Earnshaw to the kiosk, please. Race is on, and there's plenty of action too. Anthony Gunter back in third place. Stephen Gaul leads the event. Then Gunter trying desperately hard on the outside. You can see them up in the quarry section of the ground. Then they'll drop at the northern end of the circuit. They'll drop down through the gully onto the main straight area. Please keep well back from the circuit as these brave men of motocross racing now start to gun the machine down the main straight. Over the Lizard's Leap now for the first time. 1 down and 7 to go. All out in front. Gunter in second place now. Trevor Williams in third. Then Jeffrey Leisky. Back to 0, Nev Cutts. Long gap back there to number 2, Graham Smythe, and then back to number 6, Robert Woodward. But by gee, what a start, Tom.
And Gunter is now up into second place, and he senses, of course, that Stephen Gaul is riding rather desperately there and trying to bridge the gap. So he goes through up on the outside of teammate Trevor Williams. So the order in which they go through down to the southern slopes is Stephen Gaul ahead of Anthony Gunter, and then the next rider through is Trevor Williams, Team Kawasaki rider, and the next rider through is Nev Cutts on machine number Jeffrey Leisky, I think, on machine number 5, then Nev Cutts on machine number 0, and further back then to Graham Smythe, the former national champion, on machine number 2. But coming down the slide into a Stranger's Straight, the first one through is Stephen Gaul, but hot on his tail, of course, is Anthony Gunter on machine number E, the green meanie, and just behind him, of course, letting it go out as he goes down Stranger's Straight is Trevor Williams. Coming into Smythe's Bend is the national leading Mr. Motocross Series leader, Stephen Gaul, on machine number A, ahead of Anthony Gunter on machine number E, then Trevor Williams, further back to Jeffrey Leisky, then Nev Cutts on machine number O, Graham Smythe is the next WA rider ahead of Robbie Woodward on machine number 6, then Big Peter Cooper, further back then to Peter Benson on machine number 30, then we've got Big Brad Thompson on machine number 4, and Russell Speak is the next rider through on machine number 8. And right up in the top side, it's looked as though it's sheer desperation riding as they come down. Stephen Gaul, the first one down the slide, and coming up in the main straightaway now, but Gunter is giving it everything he possibly can as they come up towards Claude's Hump and over Lizard Leap. It is Stephen Gaul, but just ahead of Anthony Gunter as they go down the main straightaway. And then we've got Trevor Williams on machine number 8, and believe me, snapping on and doing a tremendous performance there is the young 16-and-a-half-year-old Jeffrey Leisky on machine number 5. Con.
Thanks very much indeed, Tom. Yes, this, don't forget, the riders use and recommend Castrol GDX as Anthony Gunter takes the lead. Stephen Gaul's gone back to second place. Trevor Williams up in third. Back to Jeff Leisky, then a long gap back to 0, Nev Cutts. Then an even further gap to Robert Woodward, number 2, Graham Smythe, Peter Benson, and then a big gap of riders, but be noted about the men out in front. The A-grade action is thick and fast here at the moment. Anthony Gunter, the superior rider here today so far. He leads this event from Stephen Gaul. Not a great deal of distance between them, but I tell you what, I think the Kawasaki's got the grunt at this stage, David.
Well, you only have to walk across to that shed of theirs, and well, actually the truck they've got there, and you can understand why, Con. It's absolutely beautifully presented. I think any of the spectators that have been across to watch them at work, it really is a piece of artistry over there, and they really are putting it together for this year's event.
Certainly are. There he is, Anthony Gunter on machine number E out in front, Stephen Gaul in second place. Then back to Trevor Williams, the national champion. Look at Jeff Leisky riding for the Clemnun All-Star Honda team. He's really closed the gap on the riders this time. Nev Cutts riding for Team Honda, then a long gap back to Robert Woodward, then back to number 2, Graham Smythe. But all interest is on the first 4 or 5 place getters from here as they move up the top of the quarry. Down they drop with Gunter out in front. Gunter out in front of Stephen Gaul. Trevor Williams still looking there very dangerously close in 3rd spot. And back in 4th position, riding again, is young Jeffrey Lease. Look at Gunter go. Woo-hoo. I tell you what, if he flies any higher, the Department of Civil Aviation will come and book him.
You're exactly right. They're really working. Oh, they're really working out there at the moment.
There we are. Sorry about that, Steve. Got a bit of electric shock. In place, Trevor Williams is the man that's starting to make the big move, and I tell you what, any man's race from here as they drop out of sight and down the back section. Tommy.
Thank you very much, Con. Well, great. I don't like electric shocks from microphones. The race lead, of course, is in the very, very capable hands of Anthony Gunter, who rocketed to fame some few short years ago as a 19-year-old plumber from Wollongong. And believe me, he has dominated the scene in many, many respects right across the board. Trevor Williams is having a real battle there with Stephen Gaul for 2nd place. He's starting to put the pressure on. He wants to make it a 1st and a 2nd for the Kawasaki. But Stephen Gaul, of course, will be one to block his every move if he can possibly do it. But Anthony Gunter is establishing himself as quite a clear leader at this point in time, and that he certainly can't make any mistakes, because Stephen Gaul, being the professional rider that he is, and the opportunist, and that very strong winning streak which somehow dominates the frontal part of the brain system, will come to the fore. But Anthony Gunter, the eyes are on him as he comes up into the main straightaway, handling the Kawasaki with superb and nonchalant ease. It's the start of the halfway mark. Anthony Gunter over the line, just ahead of Stephen Gaul. Then we've got Trevor Williams, but look at the performance here of Jeffrey Leisky on machine number 5. He's coming up in the outside, looking for that opportunity to get through, and Jeffrey Leisky is now up into 3rd position, and believe me, he's going to challenge to the full if he can possibly do it.
1, 2, test. Run out of noise. 1, 2, test, have a listen, test. 1, 2, test. Run out of noise. Out of noise, yeah. But we'll keep on going as the rider's still out in front and battling on very well indeed. Man leading this event and going along quite well. Yeah. Anthony Gunter from New South Wales still leading this event on machine number E. Stephen Gaul in 2nd place, Jeffrey Leisky in 3rd position. Woo-hoo, he's riding so hard. One, two, test. But you have Anthony Gunter still out in front, Stephen Gaul in 2nd place, Jeffrey Leisky trying to get up into 3rd place. Anthony Gunter still out in front on machine number E. Back there to Stephen Gaul. Jeffrey Leisky on 5. What a great ride from him. Then back there to number H there. Trevor Williams, the national champion. Leisky's on the outside of Stephen Gaul. But nothing at all can stop them. You find him? Right, Still the event continuing on, I suppose.
Yeah, I think he's right.
So really and truly top action is Anthony Gunter from New South Wales still leading this event as they drop through the back section. Jeffrey Lease gone up in the second spot. Jeff Lease, the West Australian rider. He's passed to Stephen Gaul, and what a great ride from this young 16-and-a-half-year-old guy who rides the Clemnun All-Star Honda team. Gunter's right out in front and desperately trying to keep this lead. And by gee, this is one of Jeff Lease's most brilliant rides. The young West Australian boy, then Stephen Gaul on A, back there to Trevor Williams on H. Over the top into the quarry area. The back of the quarry area. Got anything back yet? Moving into the main straight now. The race leader still out in front. That's Anthony Gunter, riding very hard indeed.
He's very quiet.
Right, getting a little bit of sound there now. Anthony Gunter on machine number E. Back there in second place is number 5, Jeffrey Lease. Back to Stephen Gaul on A. And Trevor Williams on machine number H.
No, he's working on it. Yeah, might have done, yeah. Although he thinks there's water somewhere.
We have a little loss. Can you hear us? We've got no power. The race is being led and led very well still by Anthony Gunter.
Bit of comment to the box.
Tremendous effort. You can see them now dropping over the mobile jump. Down the mobile jump they go. Anthony Gunter, the green meanie from the Wollongong Motorcycle Club in New South Wales, starting to catch Jeff Leask in second spot, and he's doing a man-sized job there now, as there's been a real bad spill here, a very bad spill here at the end of the leap here. Riders are being told to slow down. Louis Fanchi goes to this time get the blue flag for the race leader. But Anthony Gunter's done a tremendous job right from the beginning of this event. He has set his sights on winning this race, and he is not going to be making many mistakes from here on in. With about a lap and a quarter left to go, he's riding very hard indeed. Got the machine over the jump now, moving up towards the Lizard's Leap. Across the line he goes on machine number E. Back in second place is a brilliant Jeffrey Leask, riding for the Clemnun All-Star Honda team out there from Kenwick. Then back to A, the national champion, one of the national champions, and Stephen Gaul from the other current Australian 500cc champion, Trevor Williams, who is in fourth position and certainly cannot peg back the brilliance of these riders here at the moment. He's finding the going very tough indeed. Over the mobile jump they go. Waiting for our race leader to come onto view of the camera now.